Mentioned Democratic strategist James Carville. He's out with a bold prediction, saying that the Trump administration and Republican lawmakers will suffer a massive collapse in 30 days. Let's take a look.
What I've said very publicly, Democrats need to play possum. This whole thing is collapsing. It doesn't need Elizabeth Warren and somebody screaming to pacify some progressive advocacy groups in Washington, which, by the way, I wish these people were just useless. They're actually worse than useless, that they're detrimental. And they never, ever learn to shut up. And so, Dan, this is what I believe. I believe that this administration, in less than 30 days, in the midst of a massive collapse, and particularly a collapse in public opinion. It's going to be easy pickings here in 6 weeks. Just lay back.
So you literally think 30 days to 6 weeks, the Trump administration is effectively going to collapse in terms of public support?
Well, it's collapsing right now. We're in the midst of a collapse. This is the lowest approval, not even close, that any president has ever had at a comparable time. Again, that's a provable fact. So they're not going to be able to get a debt extension. That's pretty clear. I don't think they're going to be able to pass reconciliation, but I'm not sure. But they're going to have to go to Hakeem. And that is going to be the equivalent of stacking arms. It's over.
Well, that is certainly
pronouncement.
That's certainly one view of it. Again, going back to Wide World of News, Halpern also quotes from Heather Cox Richardson's newsletter, her quote of Timothy Snyder, who is a scholar on authoritarianism, who said, "Something is shifting. They are still breaking things and stealing things, and they will keep trying to break and steal, but the propaganda magic around the oligarchical coup is fading. Nervous Musk, nervous Trump." And the point is not that necessarily everything's going to be over in 30 days or that things are going to collapse in 30 days. But Democrats, for the first time since Election Day, and this is what Halpern's Wide World of News is saying, for the first time since Election Day, Democrats are starting to see an opening. And with that opening, a lot of questions, Meek, about who will lead this party.
Right. Joining us now, co-founder, CEO of Axios, Jim VandeHei, and journalist, editor, and author of the newsletter Fresh Hell, available on Substack, Tina Brown. I love it.
Still my favorite topic for a newsletter.
The BBC's Katty Kay is still with us as well. She's the host of the Rest is Politics podcast, which is amazing as well.
Yeah. So, Jim VandeHei, you've actually written about, Axios has actually written about this, which is the sort of different camps that we have right now for leaders who want to take charge of the Democratic Party and lead the fight against Republicans and Donald Trump. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Carville's spot on in his analysis. Like, he's got to look at where the Democratic Party is right now, right? We also have polls showing Democrats have never been, as a party, more unpopular than they are at this moment. On top of that, they don't have much power, right? If you don't control the Senate, you don't control the House, you don't control the White House, you don't control the courts. There's only so many levers that you can actually pull. So the debate inside the party is, do you accept that some of the things that Donald Trump wants to do directionally might be correct? And that put sort of Governor Whitmer or Governor Polis in Colorado in that camp, saying, listen, maybe they're with them on tariffs or part of tariffs. Maybe they're with them on the border and conceding that things need to be done and not that every day doesn't need to be a fight. That's one camp. I think the others here, Chris Murphy's a senator from Connecticut, or J.D. Pritzker in Illinois, people who are from very liberal states where they have the freedom to be in sort of the warfare mindset, day in, day out, hour in, hour out. And I think that is the big fight. I think we know the way politics works is Trump's going to live or die based on his performance. Like, tell me what inflation looks like in a month, tell me what the jobless rate looks like, tell me where wages are, and tell me how much chaos flows from some of the decisions of the first 30 days, and I'll tell you kind of where his public standing is and whether or not Republicans will break. But so far, there's zero sign You saw it. You had it this morning. The idea that no Republican will speak up and say, hey, maybe Vladimir Putin's a thug. Maybe he's a dictator.
Yeah.
Maybe he's been hell-bent for his entire life, starting at the KGB to destroy your nation. Maybe Zelensky, you could argue whether or not we should be there or not there. You can't argue like, oh, he started the war when someone invaded me. And yet you don't have a single Republican who says, hey, that's crazy. That's counter everything we've ever believed in our careers. And I think that speaks to the power Trump will have until those poll numbers go way the hell down.
Well, yeah, until if inflation goes up or those poll numbers go down, the economy goes down. Exactly. I think you're right. I don't see that happening within 30 days. But you are right. I mean, Vladimir Putin has seen the United States of America as an enemy his entire life. And yet here we are. Not a single Republican willing to stand up and speak out aggressively against what President Trump has been saying. Tina, your latest piece in Fresh Hell has this line, and I do agree with you because I have noticed that since the election, most Democratic leaders have been stunned. One real exception to that has been Rahm Emanuel, who time and time again, with his language, strips things down to their bare essentials. And if let's say he's talking about DEI, or let's say he's talking about trans athletes, or talking about some of these hot button issues that Democrats fumble around on, Rahm, he'll have a line for it, which is the Democratic Party is popular when they're the party of acceptance. They are unpopular when they're a party of authoritarianism on these social issues, or they're the party of advocacy, shoving all of these issues in Americans' faces, even when they don't want to. Acceptance, yes. Stern advocacy, no.
Absolutely right. I mean, God, how much do I love James Carville, by the way. But Rahm, he knows how to communicate. And he actually says, the messenger is the message, because Democrats like to go on about, like, we have to get the message right. Well, the messenger has to be right, too. And Rahm is able to speak with clarity, which is so missing from the kind of mothballed, euphemistic verbiage, that the Democrats tend to speak in. And he says, Democrats tend to defend they defend the process instead of the results. And it's absolutely true. I mean, much though I love Elizabeth Warren, the sight of her sort of parading around with a sign saying, save our CPB, it's like, what's the next thing? Save our IRS. I mean, this acronyms and sort of, it's lame. It's lame. And Rahm is never lame. He has this amazing expertise, which is, of course, wildly out of fashion to have any expertise. But when you think that he was, chief of staff, that he was, ambassador to Japan, that he was mayor of Chicago, the guy has he's a practitioner. He's not an advisor, although he has been. He's a practitioner. He's been in the throng and the throes of the real sort of heat of politics. And he understands what really works and what doesn't. He knows how to communicate. And yet, he's also brilliant. So I think we need people like him who are intellectually top-notch, but who are communicating in ways that people can understand with clarity.
Tina, beyond Rahm Emanuel, when you look around the country and you look particularly to the next election, obviously Democrats are hoping that they're going to find a candidate who can run for president in 4 years' time, who can take on whoever it is, J.D. Vance or whoever is the heir to Donald Trump. Who do you see that makes you excited, makes you hopeful for the Democrats' chances in the next election?
Well, I do think that is too early. I mean, I wish that Rahm would run himself, and I don't see why he shouldn't. I think he could and he should. But I think that, it's probably going to be at the sort of much lower levels of politics. It's not going to come from the big crowd that we see out there at the top. It's going to come from the sort of the Johnny Appleseeds who are being sort of grown. And I think that Rahm himself is a great believer in that, which is to grow, right from the grassroots, new leaders who can come up and somehow get into the mix. That's what we're really going to need. But whoever it is, they've got to have communication skills. They've got to be able to think and talk at the same time. And if they don't have those skills, get out of my face. I don't want to see anybody else who people say, behind closed doors, he's really fabulous. He's, we had that with John Kerry. We've had that with people like Romney. I mean, they don't win those people. The people who can only be stars behind closed doors, stay behind closed doors. That's my message to them.
So, Jim VandeHei, you've been pretty consistent and clear in the last few months just about the uphill climb Democrats have ahead of them in the wake of November's election. And one thing I've been hearing from a lot of people in the party, especially in recent weeks, is the sort of lack of leadership. Yes, Rahm Emanuel perhaps could fill that role, but right now they're looking around, they're not really seeing it. They're not sure that Minority Leader Jeffries or Schumer are right now meeting this moment. It's too early, perhaps, for the 2028 presidential field to emerge. What's your assessment here? Who should be filling the gap in the way that during the first Trump term, 2017, 2018, that first wave of Trumpism, it was Nancy Pelosi who stepped into the breach?
Yeah, I mean, listen, over the last 20 years, we've had similar thumpings by both parties. And when you come out of an election where you have no party control, every party goes through this and everyone's hopeless and, oh, my God, we have no leaders. There's not a single leader who could step up. There's not a single Democrat right now who can command a national attention because of either their position. Like Chuck Schumer is just not it. He has power in the Senate, but he's just not a national figure like that. And the way that politics works, the way power works, is that it's almost always a reaction to who's in power now. And so whatever Trump does, it will feed that reaction. And if he's unpopular, then little by little Republicans will break from him potentially, and it will give a clear opening for Democrats to figure out how do you run against a guy who doesn't do or believe or say anything that you thought anybody could and get away with it in American politics. And so all the power flows through him. The reason that I'm not as certain as others that Republicans will break as quickly from Trump if things go poorly is this combination of Musk and Trump. Like the new dynamic, and you saw that in the nominating process, is that when you have the power of the presidency and the power of sort of the information warfare machine aimed at you, almost no one has the courage to stand up and take the bullet. Nobody. You go back to a month and a half ago, had you said that this crop of people were going to be nominated to be cabinet officials and that all of them would get through, we were saying we thought they would get through because we've kind of seen the dynamic with this Republican Party, but most people thought they'd be defeated. They wouldn't. It's the reason you see everyone being quiet or playing word games with Russia. It's why you see everyone being quiet or playing word games with Gaza, or why when the president picks a podcaster to be the number 2 at the FBI, where you now have 2 loyalists running the FBI, not 2 people who have a lot of experience with a massive bureaucracy that has extreme power over the entirety of the United States. They're not looking at experience. Like the reason that Republicans don't speak out of it is fear. And the only way you get rid of fear is by eradicating the amount of authority and popularity that Trump has right now.
CEO of Axios, Jim VandeHei, and the author of the newsletter Fresh Hell, available on Substack. Tina Brown, thank you. It's so good to see you.
And Tina, let me just say, as I do every so often, I've been getting Harry's book out and going back and rereading through, because I think it's incredible. Do I make myself clear? The great Harold Evans could have written that. He could have written it yesterday. It is still as vital. It is still as important today as ever before, isn't it?
Oh, totally, totally. I mean, he could condense this much to this much. And that's what you have to do to get anyone's attention, particularly now, in the era when nobody, has 2 minutes to do anything except this.
Yeah, exactly.
Nailed it. All right.